When it comes to the genre of boots-on-the-ground first-person shooters, no two franchises come to mind more than Call of Duty and Battlefield. Now, the latter, we know what's been going on with Battlefield 2042. That has been one of the most disastrous live service releases from EA. But Call of Duty, while faring better than Battlefield 2042, which is not saying much, is still doing rough in a few areas. Call of Duty Vanguard launched in November of 2021. The critical reception and the fanfare surrounding it are pretty meager, and beyond that, sales disappointed, much like Battlefield 2042 did. Vanguard sales were lower than Black Ops Cold War in 2020, and I think there was some stats indicating that in the UK, one of the decades-old Call of Duty sold more than Vanguard did. Just in terms of commercial performance, this specific entry, without question, underwhelmed. Though that doesn't mean Activision isn't trying to bolster excitement surrounding the Call of Duty franchise, with Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 having been officially confirmed. Both of them will be built on a brand new engine. Now, this is something that Activision and the Call of Duty franchise has touted before, and it hasn't always worked out. It hasn't always been the most substantial of graphical upgrades, or those games still managed to launch on some level in a rough condition, but we'll see what happens with Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. Fingers crossed that they ship it in a complete and polished state, though expecting that is definitely something of a gamble these days. Now, in today's video, I want to specifically focus on Call of Duty Warzone, which has faced its fair share of technical issues, especially on console. Warzone players clown unplayable console experience, reports Charlie Intel, with this article from a month ago, from back in January 11th, 2022. And scrolling down, we can see that due to hardware limitations on systems like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, Warzone has always been a downgraded experience on consoles. The hardware limitations of last-gen consoles is why Warzone Pacific isn't getting an FOV slider, which has been one of the most requested features. But it's one thing for a game to be scaled back in terms of fidelity because of older generation hardware, and it's another thing for those versions to see unacceptable levels of glitches and bugs that completely disrupt the gameplay experience. The sheer amount of glitches and bugs the game has on consoles is getting pretty ridiculous, so much so that there are compilation videos out there like this Reddit post. The video showcases a load of issues, including buy station freezing, invisible operators, and glitched gun textures. These issues are severe enough that some have come out and labeled Call of Duty Warzone unplayable. This game is unplayable on console right now. Texture rendering issues, invisible guns, glitch gun textures. I really don't get how they managed to botch the game this terribly. And I'll emphasize that these issues were reported a month ago, and it would seem as though even today, plenty of issues persist. Now, I'd actually like to show you the video to highlight just how bad and prevalent and disruptive these glitches and bugs are. This is about a minute long, a minute and 22 seconds. I'm gonna just go through this and comment along the way. So here we go. You can already tell from the music that this video is definitely intended to mock to a degree, but mainly just highlight stuff like this where the buying station, which is an important aspect of the gameplay, leads to stutters and freezes and crashes. And this is something that plenty of people have experienced. Secret player titles, heard these are ultra rare. Basically, the player titles you can see are all glitched out and don't show what they're meant to show. Invisible operators, there's nothing here. The character model is completely invisible. Navigating the store, this is the clip that's going to convince Activision to fix this. Yeah, no, I would call this more of a feature than a bug. A broken storefront. And then you got new weapon skins like this one right here, which obviously is just a horribly glitched out weapon model. Checking out the camos. Obviously, the visuals are not appearing as they should. Modern Warfare is still magically broken right after the Caldera update. And then scrolling down, you find players sharing their own experiences, issues that they've faced, like this Reddit user here who said only thing he missed was game crashing every 2 or 3 games. Beyond that, the game's performance just isn't ideal right now, obviously in a first-person shooter where reflexes and pinpoint accuracy are paramount. A smooth frame rate is key, but apparently plenty of people have been experiencing painfully low and inconsistent FPS. While Call of Duty Warzone isn't broken on the most fundamental levels like Battlefield 2042 is, things are bad enough on consoles in particular that there is definitely an outcry for this stuff to get fixed. And developers for Call of Duty Warzone did actually respond in a way that felt more open than the typical, PR boilerplate statement that tends to be put out there. Tom Henderson reported on this, saying that Call of Duty leadership has acknowledged that Call of Duty Warzone is a mess and had the following to say: "We effed stuff up. We broke it. We're not happy with it. No excuses." They have vowed to fix the issues of the game. It is very rare for developers and heads of a studio handling a major AAA franchise to just come out and straight up say, with no flowery words, "We just fucked up completely. We messed this up. This is on us. This is just inexcusable." Usually communication like this will feel a lot more robotic. Statements like these tend to read like somebody in charge of PR wrote it, with words carefully chosen as to somewhat downplay the issues, but acknowledge enough that they're hearing the feedback and all the usual crap that doesn't really inspire confidence. So while the state of Call of Duty Warzone on consoles is unacceptable, the fact that there is this kind of communication people are feeling is refreshing, and beyond actually taking some culpability and admitting that they screwed up, they explain exactly where things went wrong, as reported here by Charlie Intel. Warzone devs admit game is broken and promise to fix it. This quote where the devs admitted that "we effed up" was from an Activision-hosted call with press and content creators, where Infinity Ward co-studio head Pat Kelly, Activision game director Josh Bridge, and Raven Software's Eric Beisman candidly discussed the problems and their plans to fix them. They actually sat down and had a back and forth with the general gaming media out there, both the general press and the content creators, streamers, influencers, whatever you want to call them. A stark contrast from what's been going on at EA and DICE, with a complete lack of communication when it comes to Battlefield 2042, with most people basically getting their information from Tom Henderson, who is an industry insider who, through sources, is kind of leaking what's going on behind the scenes to keep people in the loop. So he kind of has become the unofficial community manager for that community. But with Call of Duty Warzone, it does seem like the heads and the developers are trying to get ahead of the story a little bit and actually trying to communicate. And the developers admit here that the reason Warzone is experiencing technical issues is because of how bloated it has become. They stated that Warzone was originally built solely as an addition to 2019's Modern Warfare, but after its incredible success, they wanted to incorporate it into future Call of Duty titles. This caused significant development challenges, which left the game feeling bloated with the additional Black Ops, Cold War, and Vanguard. And here's a direct quote from Kelly saying it didn't feel like Modern Warfare anymore, nor did it feel like Black Ops. Just straight up pointing out everything wrong with the current state of the game, the decisions that led to this, and the fact that the game just no longer feels like what it was meant to feel like. One of the major criticisms of Battlefield 2042 is that it just doesn't feel like Battlefield, and for the most part, there is yet to be any official statements out there saying, yeah, we messed up and this does not feel like Battlefield and we need a course correct with Battlefield 2042. They haven't really shared much in the way of future plans. Whereas these developers are admitting that the bloated state made it even harder to find bugs and patch them quickly due to how much was going on in the game at one time. Game companies tend to underestimate the power of transparency and how much more empathetic people can be when they actually understand the situation and when it feels like they're being talked to like human beings, like there's a two-way street conversation happening. The way these developers are communicating here at least indicate that they're aware of where they went wrong and that they may very well learn from their mistakes and that things can improve from here. And it just gives people more of an understanding to make them more patient, to maybe give them a bit more time and flexibility, because at least they are saying and acknowledging we were wrong and we messed up. And here's how we're going to fix things. Here's the areas where we know we failed and where we want to course correct moving forward. Like, that's just a lot more encouraging than some PR tweet. Now, I'm not saying that this means the future of Call of Duty is bright. You never know with both Call of Duty and Battlefield just how badly they'll screw up, how greedy the executives will be with some of the mandates and business models and monetization tactics that they shove in there. But at least the developers are trying to be better about communicating. In the case of Call of Duty Warzone, it was emphasized that they were hopeful for the future and promised that they are determined to fix the issues with the game. Again, that's to be determined. Do not just take their word for it. But they also did promise just better communication across the board. They emphasized that they plan to provide better communication with their fan base about fixes for issues while focusing more on quality of life improvements rather than just new features all the time. Now, this communication from the Call of Duty developers did catch the attention of the Battlefield community, who are completely disillusioned by how poor communication from EA and DICE has been about the utter disastrous state of Battlefield 2042, with a Reddit user here. One of the top posts is this one right here. The headline reads, "I wish DICE had this type of mentality," highlighting Tom Henderson's tweet about how Call of Duty leadership have straight up said, "We effed up, we broke it, we're not happy with it," and no excuses. They didn't come out and say stuff like, "These expectations are brutal," which you may recall went down very poorly with the Battlefield 2042 community, who figured, hey, expecting a game to work at launch when I pay $70+ for it, I don't think that's a brutal expectation. The developer was more saying expecting developers to hunker down during the holidays to fix this game was a brutal expectation, and that's, I get that on some level, especially where ground floor developers are concerned, but wagging the finger at the community in any way, shape, or form when EA and DICE and the state of Battlefield 2042 are clearly in the wrong here just is a very, very bad look, when so many people were looking forward to enjoying the holidays playing a version of Battlefield 2042 that was finished and that worked properly, but instead, you know, they spend all this money on something that feels like it's already dead. And this all feels like something of a reversal in roles, as highlighted by this Reddit user here in a response that reads, "As a longtime Battlefield gamer, I never thought Call of Duty would have the moral high ground over Battlefield. Current DICE is an embarrassment to the previous teams who actually gave a damn, and their efforts and attention to detail is sorely missed." Like, this Call of Duty Warzone situation is salvageable. Call of Duty Vanguard, I would say not so much. It's just a title that didn't garner a whole lot of interest and that didn't really do anything all that exceptional. But Battlefield 2042 is just on another level of disastrous launches, and things have gotten so bad that this petition that demands that refunds be issued on all platforms for anyone who purchased Battlefield 2042, for anyone who requests the refund, has garnered almost 180,000 signatures as of the recording of this video. This number has spiked in just the past 2 to 3 days and is almost at 200,000 signatures, which is pretty crazy. And while I don't think this petition is actually going to go anywhere, I don't think EA is going to look at this and suddenly find a heart and do the morally correct thing here. The fact that it is generating buzz, the fact that it is drawing negative attention towards Battlefield 2042, the fact that it is punishing EA and DICE for the poor decisions surrounding both the design aspects of this game as well as the decision to release the game in the state that it was, that's all applying pressure, and it is sending the message that this is just not acceptable and that people will speak out and that companies will face awful PR if they repeat stuff like this. And inevitably, this will be repeated. AAA rough launches just feel like a trend at this point, which really just sucks. Plenty of people have already declared both Battlefield 2042 and the Battlefield franchise as a whole as dead. Is the franchise dead, or only 2024? Anakin Skywalker here turning to the dark side, and Obi-Wan Battlefield community saying you were supposed to be the COD killer, not the Battlefield franchise killer. And indeed, looking at the numbers here, the 24-hour concurrent players peak for Battlefield 2042 is still looking pretty damn dire, especially compared to older entries like Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1, where people have migrated to, growing sick and tired of Battlefield 2042. Still experiencing wacky issues like this one, where players for some reason are walking on the ceiling, frickin' Inception style. You can see right here, look at this guy up here. What the hell? I don't know. On top of fundamental issues like the shooting still being hit or miss with how bad hit registration is, how inconsistent that is. But make no mistake, the state of Call of Duty Warzone on consoles especially is far from ideal, and it is definitely something that needs to be called out. But hopefully top Call of Duty developers coming out and admitting that they messed up and highlighting where they messed up and areas where they will try to improve moving forward and all of these things. Hopefully this does indicate that these issues will be resolved sooner rather than later, and that future Call of Duty releases will be much better about handling things like bloat and things that can cause situations like this. But yeah, curious to see where all of this goes. In the meantime, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the communication provided by the top Call of Duty developers and leaders, and let me know what you think the future holds for the Call of Duty franchise, especially with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty Warzone 2 coming out in the not-so-distant future. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.